Sportscast, September 19th, 2019. If you haven't yet, please subscribe on all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're on iTunes, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. And visit us on the sportscast.net for the latest in sports news. Lincoln Riley and Jalen Hurts sent the Big 12 a message in its fifth-ranked Oklahoma's 48-14 victory over UCLA on Saturday night at the Rose Bowl. And to join us to talk to us a little bit about Big 12, Oklahoma, and Jalen Hurts, Mr. Caillou Borden. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Welcome. Thank you. For
Caillou,
having me on again.
It's been a great 3 weeks so far in college football. Big 12 is ramping, but the big name that everyone's talking about is Hurts. What happened this weekend against UCLA?
I think Jalen Hurts has done a tremendous job so far, and I think that Lincoln Riley's really helped Jalen Hurts. I think Oklahoma's currently 3-0. I was really impressed with Jalen Hurts. I feel like each and every game he's getting better and better. Against UCLA, 15 for 20, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also ran for 150 yards, a touchdown, 14 carries. I feel like Jalen Hurts each and every game is getting better and better. A lot of people say he can't throw or this or that. I think that he's getting each and better each game, and I know it's UCLA, but it's good for him that he's getting better and better each and every game, and the fact that he's a veteran, which also helps him in Lincoln Riley's offense, and the fact that Lincoln Riley is able to gear towards quarterbacks. And this is his third quarterback. I think that Lincoln Riley is doing a tremendous job working with Jalen Hurts. I also think Jalen Hurts is underrated.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts has definitely have come back. Obviously, he played for 2 seasons with Alabama. Not known to be a arm throwing quarterback, known to be a mobile quarterback. But how has his passing improved so far?
I think that Lincoln Riley's obviously putting him in positions where he could succeed. I think in the Big 12, it's more spread out, so I think that helps. I think that in the SEC, it's more grinder. It's more like physical, like they're predicated on defense. I think Lincoln Riley schematically is a better. I think he's a way better offensive coach. Even though Nick Saban is a better overall coach, I think Lincoln Riley is one of the premier young coaches in the league, one of the bright minds. So putting Jalen Hurts in space with the running backs that OU consistently has, I think that helps. He uses Jalen Hurts when he can run and when it's 2nd and 5, 3rd and 6. I think that makes Jalen Hurts feel more comfortable. And I also think that Alabama's a great school, but they're known for their defense. Oklahoma had back-to-back Heismans. I think that Lincoln Riley predicates his system towards quarterbacks. And I think that Alabama, they focus on defense. And they don't really have like a premier quarterback other than Tua, but prior to that, Jalen Hurts is their best quarterback. So I think Lincoln Riley and going to a program like OU where there's a history of great quarterbacks, I think that certainly helps Jalen Hurts.
Hurts led the Sooners to 6 touchdowns and a pair of field goals and 10 drives. He completed 15 of 20 passes for 289 yards and 3 touchdowns, and ran 14 times for 150 yards and a score. He's doing both. CeCe Lamb and Charleston Rambo each had 2 touchdowns to help the Sooners win their 21st straight road game that is tied with Alabama, the second longest away streak after World War II. Obviously, UCLA was a weak team, and of course, OSU is a power offense. We saw, Hurts also running the ball. Is Riley giving him a good balance of running and throwing?
I think that Lincoln Riley, I like Lincoln Riley because obviously when you have Baker Mayfield, I think he does a tremendous job at making sure that his quarterback skill sets are complemented. I think a lot of coaches, gear towards what they want to do instead of what they do. And I like Lincoln Riley finds a mutual balance between that. And what I mean is simply 2nd and 6. He'll call a play where Jalen Hurts is comfortable with. 3rd and 7, he'll give Jalen Hurts a couple warm-up throws to get him start early in games, and then he'll start play action. He'll make Jalen Hurts feel as comfortable as he can early in the season, and then he'll start to expand on it as we see in the weeks going forward like he did with Baker and Kyler Murray.
Oklahoma has next week off before opening a Big 12 play on September 28th against Texas Tech. The Sooners have won the last 7 meetings and have scored at least 38 points in their last 9 meetings against the Red Raiders. Oklahoma is ranked number 5 in the AP poll. Do you think if they win out, do you think they have a chance to, squeeze into the top 4?
I think they'll get in. like the week by week rankings, I think they're obviously going to subject to change. Like when they came out, we were 5 and we scored 70 points when we played South Dakota. I wasn't really surprised by the rankings because, like, in college football, like, you learn that the rankings are subject to change. It's just like in college basketball. So, like, I feel like Oklahoma's still going to get in as long as Oklahoma beats Texas or they win the Big 12 championship game. I still think they're going to get in. I think that, 5 ranking early in, like, week 4, week 5, I don't think that is a big deal because I think there's still a lot of time in the course of the college football season. I still think that we have the big game against Texas and the Big 12 championship if we make it there. So I think that being a number 5 ranking at this point in the season is not a big deal.
And also not in a bad position as well. You're just outside looking in. Anything can happen. Right now, The top 4 is Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU. I don't expect Alabama, Georgia, and LSU all make it in because I know that LSU plays Alabama, and it's going to shake it off. It's just not going to work out. I mean, there'll be at most 2 SEC teams. I cannot see anything more than that. But that's just my humble opinion.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure.
Big 12 scores. Let's look at what happened this past weekend. West Virginia defeated NC State 44-27. Kansas State defeated Mississippi State 31-24. Oklahoma defeated Tulsa. Oklahoma State defeated Tulsa 40-21. Iowa State lost against Iowa 18-17, which was one of the games we were looking out at this past weekend. TCU defeated Purdue 34-13. And Texas Longhorns defeated Rice 48-13. Arizona defeated Texas Tech 28-14. Nothing much to look at here. Obviously, I'm looking at Kansas State defeating Mississippi State, a SEC school, and Arizona obviously defeating Texas Tech 28-14. So nothing going much, pretty obvious, pretty close games with Iowa and Iowa State. But how do you see the Big 12 so far?
I think a lot what you see early is against, unranked teams. I think you should just take care of your business. I think it's more so like you said, I think like early in a couple weeks, like as you get more closer to like rivalry weekend, we get more closer deep in the season. You just obviously early in the season want to take care of your business. So I think that it's important for you to just, keep it rolling, get a rhythm, try to get your quarterback a couple throws, get your defense straightened out. So nothing really to take away. Something
to leverage for sure to look at. Obviously, the Oklahoma game against Texas on October 12th is the biggest game in the Big 12 in a few more weeks. We're really looking towards that game right there. Obviously, we'll preview it next week. But will that be a big determination of who is the best within this conference?
I think it's going to go a long way. I think I would obviously be curious to see how both teams match up. I think it depends. Like if Oklahoma gets blown out, you're going to be really concerned. I don't think it's going to happen. If Texas gets blown out, you're going to be concerned. It depends. You want to see it could be a benchmark. Depend. If it's a close game, obviously both teams still have time to get better. Obviously, if you get blown out, you're going to be extremely concerned. So I think it depends what type of game it is. And I also think that there's still going to be a lot of season. I think both teams are still going to be there for the Big 12 championship. And I think both teams could still get better. So I think it depends what type of game it is.
Yeah, it's only one. For Oklahoma, they only have they're playing against 2 other ranked teams as of right now, which is Texas, which they're ranked number 12. And then on November 23rd, they're playing TCU. So we'll definitely be looking out on the Oklahoma run. Jalen Hurts, which so far, as we spoke about, he's definitely having a great 3 weeks. And we'll see if he'll be tested against Texas. Do you think Hurts is a top 3, top 5 quarterback in college football?
I think in college football, in terms of I don't think that he'll be as successful in the NFL. I don't know what's his pro prospect, but in terms of college football, I definitely think he's up there with Tua, with Lawrence, with Herbert, because I definitely think that his game and with Lincoln Riley and just how the Big 12 is played, because the Big 12 there's a lot of missed tackles in the Big 12. I like the Big 12, but there's a lot of missed tackles in the Big 12. So I think playing in a conference like that, playing with a coach like Lincoln Riley, who's had the last two Heismans and he's innovating and he's doing all this great thing in college football, I think playing in that offense would definitely allow Jalen Hurts to flourish and be a top, quarterback in college football.
There you go. Big 12 will be following along for the next couple of weeks. Caillou is eyeing the Big 12, and I'm definitely looking at it as well because Jalen Hurts is definitely making a splash. Let's look into the NFL. Late-breaking news. Josh Rosen is named starting quarterback this weekend for the Miami Dolphins when they play against the Dallas Cowboys. Caillou, is it time for Josh Rosen to shine in Miami?
I think it's very unfortunate for Josh Rosen because the situation with Minka Fitzpatrick wanted out. I think that he got out, and I think that it's very unfortunate for Josh Rosen. Here's why: because when he got drafted by Arizona, they had no offensive line, and now he's in Miami with players that want to leave. And is he going to be there for long term? Because the Dolphins have already allowed, a lot of points and I think that it's only going to get worse. People are talking about they could possibly go 0-16. I think they'll possibly win one game, maybe one or two games. I don't think they're going to 0-16 because only the Lions has done that, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll probably win one game. I think it's about time for Josh Rosen. I don't know how he didn't beat out Ryan Fitzpatrick. I respect him. He's been a journeyman. He's been on 8 teams. However, you got to give Josh Rosen an opportunity. I don't know what he's going to do. You don't have a good offensive line. You don't have a good defense. The management's bad. So I have limited expectations for him. I have limited expectations for Josh Rosen.
Yeah, Josh Rosen definitely, had his first season with the Arizona Cardinals. Did not have an exciting first season. Got traded because of Kyler Murray coming in. He was drafted first round, first pick. Back to the Dolphins. They traded Minka Fitzpatrick a couple of days ago for a couple of picks. Obviously, we both agreed that I think the Dolphins are tanking, to get that that first round pick. What are your thoughts so far of how they're handling it?
I think the Dolphins always handle thing, and I think that ownership in Miami has been terrible, and I think that it's always put me in a bad position that they always seem to put their players in bad positions. Because if you wanted to start Josh Rosen, you could have done a better job at just starting him at the beginning of the season. Because he didn't play. He played last year, but when he played, it was a terrible offensive line. We already know what Ryan Fitzpatrick is. He's been in the league for a while. You might as well just get a head start and see what you have in Josh Rosen. And if it doesn't work out, you're gonna be in the bottom 3 picks anyway because you don't have a good defense, you don't have a good offensive line. So you might as well just put Josh Rosen in, see what you got with Josh Rosen, and honestly hope it works. And if not, you can try to get what you can for him.
Also in quarterback changes news, the New York Giants will bench Eli Manning, and they will be starting the young quarterback. Which, if you can refresh me, what's his name? Jones. Daniel Jones will be starting against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend. Caillou, was this early or it's, hey, let's just do it now than later?
I think that this was a long time coming. I don't think it was early. I know a lot of people said the timing, and I don't think it was premature. I think you're 0-2. The defense is not going anywhere. You played the Cowboys. The defense isn't going anywhere. Eli Manning has been in decline for the last 4 years. I don't think it's early. I think you drafted Daniel Jones number 6 overall. You've given Eli plenty of opportunities. I think that he hasn't always had the best offensive line, but I saw something since that Super Bowl that he won, which is 8 years ago. He's been throwing the most picks. He's had the most losses. I think it's time to give Daniel Jones a chance. You drafted him number 6, Pat Shermer and Dave Gettleman. You traded away Landon Collins. You traded away Odell Beckham. You said Odell Beckham was the problem. Eli Manning, I thought, was, even though he didn't have a great offensive line, I thought that, some of it was his fault. He's 38 years old. He's been in the league for a while. I think that it's time to do it. I think that for Eli Manning, does he want to stay in that team and hold the clipboard? I don't know. I think you got to see what you have in Daniel Jones. You didn't draft him that high for no reason. And I think that a lot of people are talking about if he can make the Hall of Fame, which we could do a separate podcast about. So I think it was definitely time to do it.
Daniel Jones, what are your expectations for him this season?
My expectation for Daniel Jones is to show a lot of rookie mistakes. I think that he has the Buccaneers coming up, so he can have a couple good games. He has the Buccaneers coming up this week, so I think he can have a couple of good games. He's definitely going to show some rookie slumps. I think that the preseason, in which he complete 80% of passes, you're facing vanilla defense. Most of it was against his second string team, and I think that most of it was play that they know that they can get him a high completion percentage, so that just to get him to feel good about himself, which is good. But the regular season is totally different. You're facing actual first team defenses. I think that you got to expect for him to go through his slumps, and I think that the Giants should just hope that he progresses everything. They got Sterling Shepard back, which should be huge for him. Saquon Barkley should get the ball more than 11 times. That should be more in the game plan. I don't know why he only got the ball 11 times. Sterling Shepard's back. The offensive line hasn't been that bad, and Eli Manning actually hasn't been bad. It's just that when you're 0-2 and the season's already, I think the season's done. The season's done for the Giants. I know it's 0-2, but you don't have a defense. You don't have a lot of weapons. I think they're not very good. You're in a division with the Giants and the Eagles. So you're in a division with the Cowboys and the Eagles. So I don't think you're going to win much games. The only other team you have in your division is the Redskins. So it's time to just see Daniel Jones.
And also, speaking about the NFC East, it seems like the Cowboys have a good chance of winning this division.
I'll wait on the Cowboys. I actually like how Dak Prescott's been, but I got to see better than the Redskins and Giants defense. I got to see better. I like what they've been doing. They got a new offensive coordinator. They got a new quarterback coach. I like what I see from Dak, but I got to see better than Redskins and Giants defense. Two teams that are going to be in the bottom of the division. I like what I've seen. I know he's got more subtle with his feet in the pocket, but I got to see better than those two defenses. So I'll be interested to see when he faces more top competition.
Mason Rudolph will be starting for the Steelers this weekend. What are your expectations for Mason?
I think that they're obviously going to have to rely on the defense. They looked really bad against New England, and then last week against the Seahawks, they were actually okay. They're obviously 0-2, and obviously as you continue, I definitely think they got to win this week. And I think that my expectations for him, I don't really have a lot of expectations for him because I think the Steelers are in a situation where I thought maybe they might want to trade for Eli, depending on if Eli wants to hold the clipboard. But we'll see. I thought possibly they might trade for Eli Manning, given that, maybe he doesn't want to be in New York and back up Daniel Jones. I thought that could be a possibility.
Yeah, that's something that we were talking about here on the Sportscast. As well, another destination for Eli is Jacksonville, which I know he knows Tim Coughlin, which he worked for the Giants. Do you think Jacksonville will also be a good spot for Eli?
I think it depends because it honestly depends how much time Nick Foles misses. If he misses 8 weeks, it depends if Jacksonville want to continue with Gardner Minshew, their rookie. I think it depends how much time Nick Foles is out. I think considering that they spent all that money on Nick Foles, would they be willing to take on more money from the Giants, or are the Giants going to pay a salary? I think it depends how much time Nick Foles actually misses. And I also think it depends where they're at in the division with the Texans and the Colts. And the Titans. I think it depends where they're at in the Division 1, and I think it depends on how much time Nick Foles actually misses.
Yeah, a lot of people are waiting for those results, see how bad he is. He had he's injured his clavicle. The NFL trade deadline is October 29th, so it's about a month and a half. Actually, yeah, about a month and a half or so, and we'll find out what will happen, if any quarterback will be traded, or maybe Eli wants to finish off with the Giants. We'll see in the next couple of weeks. Gardner Minshew is the starting quarterback for Jacksonville. Luke Falk is starting for the Jets. He was a practice was in the practice squad a few days ago. Obviously, I don't have much expectation for him, but do you?
I felt so bad for the Jets, man. C.J. Mosley, I mean, you blow a 16-point lead to the Bills in a game, you have 4 turnovers. Then you turn around the following week on Monday Night Football, and I didn't even think Baker played that great. Outside of the pass to which he threw Odell Beckham, by the way, which is another sensational catch by Odell Beckham. I didn't even think Baker played that well. But obviously, like you said, I have minimal expectations for Luke Falk. He was signed on that day. It's tough to really have expectations. I think he was a 6th or 7th round pick. It's tough to really have expectations for him. I don't know where the Jets go. You already didn't have a good offensive line. You don't have a good secondary. C.J. Mosley's banged up. Your quarterback's really, I was reading up on mono. It's very serious. You can't rush it back. And you lost Trevor Siemian, your backup, who's obviously, he's a decent backup. And then if you look at the Jets' schedule, it's brutal. I mean, you have the Patriots, you have the Eagles. I mean, that schedule is brutal. And I'm just looking at and I couldn't help but say there's a possibility that the Jets might go 0-6, depending on when Darnold comes back. I think there's a possibility that the Jets might go 0-6 or 1-5, given that you have the Patriots. You're on the road against New England, which is a very great team. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl last year. You're going to be playing the Cowboys, and you're going to be playing, and their schedule early is brutal. You even have Jacksonville on the road. I think that's a road game. Their schedule is brutal early, and I don't think that they caught any breaks with that, and I think that the schedule is brutal early, and not having Darnold with an illness, Trevor Siemian being out, and you already had to have everything fall right for the Jets this year. You have to have everything fall right for them, and you're 0-2 with the Patriots coming up. I'm chalking as a loss. You're going to be 0-3, and your percentage just get worse and worse after that.
Which they play the Jets after the Patriots, then the Cowboys, and then again the Patriots.
Yeah.
So not looking
That's
good.
Brutal.
That might be an 0-6 ride right there. That's it for NFL news. Let's look into Major League Baseball. Yankees lost against the Angels last night 3-2, but they're sitting on top of the AL East. But for the American League, the Astros are still ahead.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the Yankees so far? Obviously, they lost last night. What's going on in the future for them?
I think the Yankees are in great shape. I think the Yankees are in great shape. I wasn't concerned about the loss because the Yankees are going to clinch their 100th win, and it's a formality that they're going to win the division. They can do it tonight. It's only one win, but still have one win. I think they'll get it done tonight, get your 100th win, get the AL East out the way. I was hoping the Dodgers won yesterday so that we can party today. But I think it's a formality. I think from an injury standpoint, I think it sucks. We obviously lost Dylan Betances. I mean, he took a hop on the mound, and I didn't make a much of a big deal, but it turned out to be an Achilles. It sucks for him because he worked his way all the way back. And this was his first time pitching. He looked really good. 2 strikeouts, 8 pitches. He looked really good. I think it sucks for him. Personally, I think the next man up mentality is great, but you still want to have all-stars. I think from the Yankees, from a Steve Sabathia standpoint, it was great to see him. He's a great father, great husband. He's been a great baseball player. He's been a great teammate. So I think that's great to see him pitching his final home start in the regular season at Yankee Stadium. In terms of how the team is doing, I think the team is doing great, just trying to finish strong, trying to get home field advantage. Obviously, the Astros are leading by 1 game, and they have a tiebreaker. So I think from that standpoint, I think it'll be a race right down to the end. I think that's going to be a great battle. I think it's going to come down to Yankees and Houston and Dodgers for home field. I think that's great. And from another standpoint, the news that dropped today, Domingo Germán is going to be put on commissioners. He's going to be out for a while. So I think to put on the administrative list. So I think from that standpoint, you hope that those things that he did, obviously, you hope that for his standpoint, you hope that he didn't do it. And if he did, then the Yankees will have to comply with Major League Baseball to determine the best appropriate actions going forward.
Yeah, the news of German Germán came out recently, And, of course, that would be – how much of a loss would that be for the Yankees?
I think it's a loss depending because the Yankees were playing in like to piggyback their starters. I don't think it's as big of a loss as I think it depends. I don't think that he was going to start a playoff start, but I still think it's a loss because not having Dylan. I don't think it's a huge loss. I don't think it's a minor loss. I think it's sort of in the middle because obviously I thought he was going to play a role with the Yankees. I thought that he can be like a bullpen option. Let's say our starters go 3 innings, he goes another 3, and then the Yankees toss it to some of their Caillou, Ottavino, Chapman. So I think it's right in the middle of a loss. I don't think he was on an innings limit. I don't think it's a huge loss. Obviously, if we lost Aaron Judge or Giancarlo, but I don't think it's a minor loss in terms of it should go under the rug. I think it's right in the middle.
A few more weeks, 2 more weeks till the MLB playoffs begin, which they begin on October 1st, and we'll see how deep the Yankees will get. Of course, Caillou has his doubts, but I think Yankees have good chance this year, don't they?
No, I think the Yankees have great. I think the Yankees have one of the better shots with the Yankees. Obviously the Yankees. I think the Yankees, Dodgers, and Astros. I think that all year, I think those teams have separated themselves as great. I think the home field is going to be important. I don't think the Yankees are killing themselves here. I think it's them, but I don't think they're going to go. I don't think they're going to go out of their way for it. I think it's obviously very important to them, but I don't think they're going to go out of their way for it. But I think the Yankees, Astros could potentially go 7, and I think the Astros obviously built more of a challenge for the Yankees than the Dodgers. I think the Astros are more deeper. I think that Garrett Cole and I think the Yankees will have more success against Kershaw and Ryu than they would have a hard time against Verlander and Garrett Cole. I still think they could beat Verlander and Garrett Cole, but I think that the Yankees do better against Kershaw and Ryu because Kershaw's stuff in the playoffs, he struggles, and I think that Ryu's, the pitch, innings, and plus he's a little struggle in the playoffs. I think that
pretty exciting times for Major League Baseball. Pretty exciting times for the Yankees because I haven't seen the Yankees this successful in quite some time. Anything else before we head into game predictions?
No, good.
Let's start off with Michigan versus Wisconsin.
I'm gonna go Michigan, even though Michigan's been scaring a lot of people with their discipline, their late game. I'm gonna trust Michigan this week.
Auburn versus Texas A&M.
I'm gonna go Auburn.
Notre Dame versus Georgia.
Ooh, this one's really good. I'm gonna go Georgia because obviously Notre Dame being an independent, I'm gonna go Georgia. Jake Fromm has a big game, and I'm gonna go Georgia.
I think it's the top match of the weekend. USC versus Utah.
I'm gonna go Utah. I've been hearing a lot about Utah, so I figure this weekend I'm gonna watch more Utah.
There you go. Florida versus Tennessee.
I'm gonna go Florida.
LSU versus Vanderbilt.
LSU.
Miami, Ohio versus Ohio State.
Ohio State by a lot.
South Carolina versus Mizzou.
South Carolina.
Oklahoma State versus Texas. Big 12.
Texas.
Texas wins. And let's go Major League Baseball. Angels versus the Yankees at Yankee Stadium.
I think the Yankees clinch tonight. Fun fact, the Yankees haven't lost back-to-back home games since April 12th. The Yankees have an opportunity to win their 100th game, wrap up their AL East. It's been a formality forever, but you have the opportunity to officially clinch tonight. I think the Yankees get it done. You have Tanaka on the mound tonight. I think the Yankees get it done. They lost yesterday. The Yankees have had no problem bouncing back all year. I think the Yankees have been a resilient team all year, and I think the Yankees get it done.
St. Louis at the Chicago Cubs.
I think the Cubs need to hold on to that. If they want to make the wild card, I think they need to keep on holding up. I think the Cubs have a big game tonight. I think they respond. I think they have to. I think they're in Chicago. They've been struggling on the road all year. But the fact that they're in Chicago, I think that they win tonight.
And tonight, Thursday Night Football, Tennessee at Jacksonville.
I think Tennessee wins. I think Tennessee comes out strong. I think they take advantage of the rookie quarterback, Gardner Minshew. I think they have a huge game. And I could see like a 21 to like 10 type of game. I think it could be low scoring, but I don't think that Jacksonville's going to have a thing. I think Mike Vrabel and the defense get after Gardner Minshew early. I think they might score a late touchdown late, but I think that Tennessee should be able to win this game. Big game for Derrick Henry tonight, and I think that Tennessee definitely wins this game.
Yeah, Tennessee definitely has they're in way better shape. Jacksonville, which I heard Ramsey might be getting traded.
Yeah, I think that if he gets traded, look out for the Philadelphia Eagles, Howie Roseman. The Eagles secondary has been struggling. Look out for the Eagles and Jalen Ramsey. I think that could be a match made in heaven for him. So look out for the Eagles.
And random question: who will perform the best this weekend, Mason Rudolph or Daniel Jones?
I think Daniel Jones, because I think that against the Buccaneers defense, who's historically struggling, and they was one of the worst defenses in the league last year. I think that Daniel Jones against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense can do something.
The poll has it: Mason Rudolph. People voted 70%. Daniel Jones to 30%. We'll see if they prove Caillou wrong. And another question: will Jalen Hurts be a first-round pick in next year's NFL draft?
I think it's tough to say. I think I got to see a lot more from Jalen Hurts. But, I mean, as we've seen with Baker Mayfield, and they weren't number one overall picks coming into the year. I think a lot of projections are great, but I think you always have the opportunity to think. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's still a lot of work to be done for Jalen Hurts. But I wouldn't be surprised if he went in the 30s and possibly by draft day. You know, a lot of GMs like to reach sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised if he possibly climbs up boards if he has the big game and we go far in the national championship, or we go kind of full of playoffs, or we play in a big bowl game. I wouldn't be surprised.
Most people said no here on our Twitter poll. 64% voted no. 36% voted yes. And keep in mind, a year ago, Kyler Murray wasn't projected to go first round, so we'll see if Jalen Hurts can pull this one. But obviously, he's going to deal with a lot more quarterbacks in this player pool. We're dealing with Tua, Justin Herbert, even Jake Fromm is in the that camp. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. And what is the best way to reach you, Caillou, to talk to you about the Yankees?
You can reach me at Caillou Borden 12 on Twitter, and you can also reach me on Instagram at CaillouB123.
And you could reach us here at the Sportscast on thesportscast.net or at the Sportscast 1. We'll be live tweeting a few games this weekend, college football, maybe some NFL game day. We'll see what happens. But a lot of things are happening this weekend. A lot of big games in college football. Obviously, we've got Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Notre Dame, even Auburn, Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M could pull off this win. Of course, they're playing at home, so their chances are pretty good. So we'll see what happens. Really excited of what's going to happen in college football. We're seeing young quarterbacks, starting early in the NFL. So we'll see if they shine and maybe keep that starting role, because these positions, these opportunities don't last too long. Sometimes you only have a short spurt of weeks before Eli Manning might come. Anyways, Caillou, I appreciate you coming on to the Sportscast.
Thank you.